put antibiotic ointment on a dog? I am asked this sometimes when discussing pet first aid. I have made video guides on cleaning wounds, dressing wounds, creating your own dog first aid kit. That is something that I do recommend every pet owner should have. And I'm often asked if antibiotic ointment should be included in that. You may not think you need a first aid kit for your dog or your cat, but trust me, when something happens, having everything easily accessible all in one place is really wonderful. You don't have to go looking around for bottled water or a clean towel or bandages or anything like that. It's all just right in one handy area. So having a pet first aid kit, if your dog gets a little scrape or abrasion, that's one thing. You might have a little bit of extra time, but if there is an emergency, it's really nice to have that kit handy and easily accessible, so you yourself or another family member can just run and grab it really quickly. Although antibiotic ointment, some people refer to it as Neosporin, that's the name brand. Although it works really well for humans, it is always best to discuss human treatments with your veterinarian before using them on your dog. If you have a pet first aid kit, you will be all set. If you don't have one and your dog gets a cut or an abrasion, you're gonna need to gather a few supplies. So you'll need a clean towel, some warm water, mild soap, possibly a pair of clippers or scissors, depending on if you need to remove fur in that area. Sometimes it might also be beneficial to have another person if someone is available to help you restrain your pet, relax your dog, keep them calm, hold them while you're cleaning the area. The first thing you always want to do is stop the bleeding. You'll need to apply pressure, just like with humans. You're going to hold some clean gauze or a clean towel over the wound and hold pressure on it. It should stop within 10 minutes. If it doesn't stop bleeding within 20 minutes, you shouldn't go any further. You should take your dog into the veterinarian. It's an emergency. There's some reason why your dog isn't clotting. His blood's not clotting, and you need to make sure that you get that addressed sooner rather than later. Don't wait. If the bleeding stops or slows way down after 10 minutes, you're going to position your dog in the easiest way to do this. So if you have a smaller dog, you might pick them up and put them up on a table or a higher surface. If you have a large dog, you can get down on the floor with them, but make sure that they're comfortable and you have a way to easily access the wound. As I mentioned, you might need to remove some fur depending on your dog's coat and the size of the scrape and what area it's in. If you need to remove some of the fur to be able to get in and really clean it well and keep it clean, think long term, because as the wound's healing, you might have some discharge, you might have some scabbing, and you don't want hair getting caught and matted up in there. So remove hair if necessary. Rinse the wound. Once you've trimmed the fur and you have good access to it, you're going to want to rinse it with warm water until all signs of dirt and debris are gone. And then you can just use your clean cloth to pat it dry. Now that the wound is clean, you're going to need to treat it. An antiseptic solution, a non-stinging antiseptic solution, is a must-have in all first aid kits, human or canine or feline. So just a small amount of antiseptic solution, and that will clean it out. You want to, again, think long-term, prevents any incidents of infection. If there's any dirt or debris in there, you want to make sure that that's gone. So then we come to the antibiotic ointment. You can use antibiotic ointment on your dog. You want to just use a small amount. Typically, that's not going to be harmful to your dog. In some instances, it does cause skin irritation. So be sure that you're monitoring the area. If you've never used antibiotic ointment on your dog, monitor the area and make sure that you're not seeing any swelling or redness signs of irritation from the ointment. The other thing to note about antibiotic ointment is that it is not good for your dog to ingest it. Typically our pets, one, it's their natural instinct to lick and clean a wound. And two, when you put any kind of balm, salve, ointment on them, they want to lick it off. So make sure that if it's in an area where your dog's going to be able to lick it, that you dress the wound and you monitor your pet if you have time to do that, if you have the ability to do that, monitor your pet and prevent him from licking. If you're not going to be able to monitor your dog, you may need to use an e-collar to keep him away from that area. You can buy those. You may have one sitting in a closet somewhere from, you know, your pet's last surgery. You can also make a homemade e-collar, and I have a video guide on that you can check out. If you click the link up here to see other videos, that is linked there, so you can make your own DIY dog collar with some string and a pool noodle. It's cheap and really easy and super effective. So I have a DIY if you want to look into that, but prevent your dog from licking it because it can cause stomach upset, nausea, diarrhea. So you want to make sure that he's not licking the ointment off. While antibiotic ointment is helpful on minor scrapes and cuts with superficial bacteria, you will need to seek veterinary care if your dog's cut is large, or if it's a puncture wound. Even if it's, you know, the size of a pea, but it's a deep puncture wound, you're going to want to have that looked at. The rule of thumb is that if the cut only goes through the skin and the very top layer of flesh, you can feel safe treating it at home. If it goes deeper into the flesh, that's when you need to make an appointment with your vet and get your dog in to be seen. Let's say that it's a minor scrape or cut. You clean it, you apply antibiotic ointment. You should clean the wound 2 to 3 times a day for the first 3 days, and then once a day after that until it begins to heal. Check it multiple times a day for signs of infection, swelling, redness, rashes, anything like that. If you notice excessive discharge, swelling, redness, you need to go to your veterinarian. Those are signs of an infection, and it's likely that your dog would need an oral antibiotic or an intravenous antibiotic to clear that up before it causes serious health problems. Just an FYI, there are some other times when you should not treat wounds at home. One great example is if your dog is bitten by another animal. There are no exceptions to this. If your dog is bitten by another animal, even if it's an animal in your home, a cat or a dog that you own, you want to seek veterinary care. He may need other treatments that you aren't aware of, like a rabies vaccine or even maybe a couple of sutures. Bite wounds are deep, they're puncture wounds, and you know, there is a huge chance of infection because of all the bacteria in the mouth. So you want to make sure that those are seen by a vet every single time. If the wound is anywhere near your dog's eye, he should be seen by a vet. Eye injuries can be very subtle in the beginning. Just a small scratch on your pet's eyeball that you don't even notice could lead to an infection in just a few days. And that obviously could be very serious and cause blindness or at least partial blindness to the eye. So if it's anywhere around your eye, just have your dog checked out. They'll look at the eye. If there are any scratches, they'll give you antibiotic ointment for the eye to prevent those scratches from becoming infected. And finally, you want to make sure that your dog sees a veterinarian if the wound won't stop bleeding, as I mentioned, after 20 minutes. Don't wait. If your dog's blood is not clotting, there is a problem. So make sure that you don't wait it out and hope for the best. The longer it goes, the more blood he loses, the more chance for major health problems there are.